Peace, family. What's good with y'all? What's going on? Glad to be back in these YouTube streets. We are ready to have an exciting discussion and get into some things that we need to do as a people in order to be successful. And this advice or anything that I share tonight is based on the experience that I have, time on this earth, with the specific subjects that we are discussing: genealogy and genetics. This show is brought to you by Aboriginal Global Media and the Aboriginal Village Project. I'm showing this page because most of our philanthropic activity in the community will come through this particular vehicle. And there are a lot of things that we do in the community and a lot more to come. And so if you go here, you'll be able to see those things that we are doing. One of them is our Indigenous Summit, August the 15th through the 17th. You can click on any one of these flyers and it will take you to get your tickets. We are literally only 12 days away from the 15th annual Indigenous Summit of the Americas. And we're about to have a good time. The summit is an opportunity to really build, network, and have a lot of fun. I stress the fun. And so we will continue to have this event every year. This is an opportunity for everybody to come out. Everybody is invited to the summit. The summit is not just for people in the tribe. It's for the community to talk about the great things that we have done, are doing, and will do in the community, to be open and share the many things that we have learned inside of our jurisdiction and how we can better help you get your life in a much better state. And so we're excited to do our summit once again this year. You can click on any one of these flyers. It'll take you right to tickets. The itinerary is set there for you to review. Yeah. If you want to vend, I think we have 4 more vending spaces left. So you can go click that flyer. It'll take you right to the vending registrations. We have a talent show. We have Aboriginal boxing on Saturday. We have Spaded and Faded Saturday night. I suggest you rest the days prior to the summit and bring you some supplements because you're going to need it. We have the basketball outside registration for Sunday. All of those links are on the website. We have all of the pre-Lotus orders loaded to the IG page. You can go right into the highlights and or the link tree and pre-order your Lotus bottles, because don't ask me to make more than what is registered. We're accounting for everything that we make and we do in a very efficient manner. So if we get 80 bottles ordered, it's only going to be 80 bottles, not 82, not 83. And so if you don't pre-register for those things, we will have no record of you. Let's have a good time. I have people helping me, right? I have to pay them and compensate them for their time. And what I like to do is to be as organized and efficient as possible and I am the records keeper. If there ever was a records keeper, I keep records. And so these links and everything are designed to help you get yourself right. So that's coming up. And you can go to Aboriginal Village Project. By the way, did I tell you that you can get everything that I am listing here for free? Aboriginal Village Project is a philanthropic entity. We do not get permission from the Internal Revenue Service to do that. We don't need permission from the Internal Revenue Service to do that. And the Internal Revenue Service itself tells you we don't need permission, and you still get a tax write-off. And so you want to get your nationality, you want to register your businesses, you want to register for a midwife course or any other thing that we got, come to the summit. All of it will be right there in front of you. Since some of y'all act like y'all don't understand the business template. I get those questions a lot. Hey, how we get in contact with you? Bruh, I got link trees. I got 1-800 numbers. I got text lines. I got all of these things. And you ask how to get in contact with me? On every social media platform. Why don't you come in person then? You old school it then. Y'all need to old school it. Come in person. Everything will be right there. It'll be jurists right there, registering businesses and talking about the business structure. There'll be midwives and birth workers there doing the things that they need to do. There'll be indigenous dietitians and doctors on spot doing bioscans. Everybody will be there. So not only is this an opportunity to exercise circulation of the divine dollar, you're going to network at a summit like no other networking in Black America. There's nothing like it. Where do you find lawyers, doctors, agricultural specialists, economic specialists, representatives of tribal government, all in the same place? All business owners. All from all places around the country. People come from outside of the country to come to the summit. So yeah, y'all know what to do. Aboriginal Village Project. We ain't got to keep saying it. So y'all ready to really have this conversation? Because this conversation is all over TikTok. It's all over X. It's all over Instagram. It's all over Facebook. And you got a whole bunch of people talking. Now it's time to have a real conversation. Yes, let me bring the genealogists up in the building in the sense of opening up the page. That's a great segue. We have our own genealogy department in Arna, and we have our own genealogist. And so I want to share with you where you can find our genealogists at. This is our home page. You can go right here to Arna Genealogists. Click on this button right here. And you are going to see all of our credentialed genealogist contacts. Contact any one of these genealogists. They are certified inside of our tribe, and you can reach them. They're here right now, some of them on the YouTube page, on the other pages, and you can contact them. All right? You can contact them. And so y'all ain't never got to say, oh, we tried to call. You shouldn't be contacting me. I am a genealogist, but I'm not doing genealogy work. Except academically through Aboriginal University studies. But though the people who are independent contractors and own their own businesses are right here. And their credential, they went through coursework to operate these things. All right. And so you ain't got to guess. You can go right there. Now, let's get into this conversation since it's all over the internet. By people, presented by people who are uninformed. This is why you need to go to our genealogists. They're informed. These people online have lost their mind. These people online have lost their mind. And it wasn't an accident, it's by design. I was just listening to Sade. She said, is it a crime? Y'all don't need to be out here without getting fined. I'm telling y'all, the conversation from the Pan-African community, from the stateless Indian community, the New Agers that's mixing all of it together community is absolutely ridiculous. I have somebody on my TikTok page telling me, look at this now. Oh, we're going to go into this because I already covered all this stuff. Telling me that, hey, Ali, yeah, your TikTok page is dope, but you forgetting that England was over here. France was over here. Spain was over here first, before it was over there. And I'm sitting there like, okay, either you're one of two types of people. Either you're a blind, sensationalized follower, or you're a part of the Masonic groups that brought this BS here because they really want to hide from you what was actually here, because it solidifies every branch of science, geology, linguistics, genetics, genealogy, whatever, to the fact of who was actually here. That's what they're trying to cloud. That's why you got this whole America, ancient America is Egypt thing coming over. Tartaria, like it just gets more spooky as you go. And I already did the videos to show you exactly, not possibly, exactly who brought that Tartarian stuff in here. It was a white Mason. Exactly who's bringing this. This is France. This is this is Great Britain. This that right here, over here on this side. And see, I also understand human psychology in a people who are being bred weak. I'm going to talk to you tonight. Because what happens to them is sensationalism is something that they savor. When your body gets weak, chaotic energies become more attractive. I'm going to say that again. When your body gets weak, sensational, it's more attractive. Energetically, it's more attractive because it's not organized, there's no symmetry, and there's no discipline to it. And since when your body is sick, the organization is breaking down, entropy is taking over, the symmetry is being lost, and the order is being lost. Like attracts like in this universe, not unlike attracts like. No, Sorry. Like attract like is proven by the fact that you're getting this internet signal. It's radio field resonance that's causing you to get this signal. And if on my side, the electrical signature tag is not the same on your side, you're not on my channel. No, you are not. What you're calling digital technologies is information, is coding, but it's carried out through electricity. What you're calling electricity, electrical fields, magnetism, etc. Resonance. And so, yeah, that information is BS. That information is BS. So what we want to deal with is what information is accurate. What about the genes? I took my 23andMe. I took my Ancestry.com, AfricanAncestry.com with Rick Kittles. This is the black folk. I took my test. You can't tell me my test ain't right. I found my cousin. Based on my test. Of course you can find your cousin. I can find out who your daddy is if you don't know. And we got 3 people in the room and I'm doing a DNA electrophoresis test. So of course you can find your cousin. See, that's a part of the marketing. But your cousin ain't in Mali. Because you took some S&Ps selectively, had them scanned, and they say, hey, it's close to these people over here. That does not mean that you are from Mali. A case in point, we can take DNA from people in Mali who say that there's their ancestral home and go into the interior in Chad or go further west into Senegal and find similar. So now are the people from Senegal from Mali or the Malians from Senegal? Which one? Oh no, Ali, see, they have common ancestry. Okay, what in the test, the genetic test, tells you where the common ancestry is from? Which one? Please don't say you're going to start talking hominid talk. The hominids are allegedly fossils. You ain't testing DNA from a fossil. A fossil is rock. It's not bone. It's mineralized rock in the shape of what the skull, the leg, or whatever it is used to be. Hit the like button. Get up in here. We got to talk about genealogy and genetics. That's what we got to talk about. Let's start with the genealogy. I had a brother on my TikTok saying he can trace his genealogy back to 1500 something. I was looking at him on my computer screen, his comment, like, these are crazy. Ain't nobody in here can chase your genealogy back to the year 1500. Not only can you not trace your genealogy back to the year 1500, you can't chase your genetics back to the year 1500. When you say, well, I could do a genetics test and it'll tell me what people I'm from. Stop. Those people who have been sampled are from modern time. Second, if there is old DNA in there, where did you get it from? Archaeogenetic testing is some of the most difficult testing that you can do. And where's the body? Where's the material? Of course, you can test Ramesses II and see that he had a particular third or Ramesses IV, whichever ones, and see that he had a particular genomic type. If your DNA haplogroup, and we're going to get to defining these things, I'm just warming up though, is the same as Ramesses II, does that mean that you're Egyptian? Does it? You don't know if Ramesses was from Africa or wherever else he was from. You don't know. You want me to prove it to you? Oh, I'll prove it to you. No, I'm about to prove it to you. You like proof. Let's start out right here. Because if we start out right here, we're going to end up in the right place. And I want you to understand that the world that has educated you, not only have they miseducated you, they have you confused extremely. So let's start out straight from the from the beginning with the hot sauce. I'm from the South. We need some hot sauce in the building. I like my food spicy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to prove to you that you don't know where Ramesses was from. Just like you won't know where I'm from. You might know where I live at right now, but that don't mean that I'm from there. I have to tell you my history, or you have to get some other type of knowledge. Okay. In order to understand the subject. So let's read and study. All right. Let's see. Let's get this video. All right. Let's get this video so we can get the truth. I'm going to show you that you don't know nothing about genetics or genealogy because of how you were made to think. And then we're going to package this up. Let's start with Ramesses, because people like to use this. I've heard people, oh, Ramesses, you don't know where Ramesses was from. You know where he lived. One place he lived, but you don't know where he's from. And I want to prove it to you. All right, so let's play this video, because this video will definitely 1000% prove my point, and then we can move on to the next thing. Okay. All right, so you see here, Egyptian leaders were found with cacao, hape, tobacco, and cocaine. Stop, please. Stop, please. Stop, please. And see, I read. I know people don't read, and that's okay. You don't got to read. I'm going to read for you. I read. Where does cacao grow? Cacao natively grows in America. Not only does it grow in South America and Central America, it grew in North America, and we discovered that. One of my brothers, who was doing a dissertation, made this discovery through his diligent research. Shout out to him. He's doing a dissertation on it right now. We can show you cacao growing all over the place in America. Yes, American original population in this quadrant where we live at was growing cacao, was growing hape. What do you think they were selling in Virginia? You think hape is from South America? See? 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 Coca. Where you get cocaine from? Ramesses? You think you know genealogy. Oh, E1B1A Ramesses. He is my ancestor. I'm African. The gene said it. Boy, shut up, Ali. What you talking about? No, you need to shut up. Because you ain't gonna show me. You're gonna show during no Egyptian dynasty will you show any archaeological evidence that they grew the coca plant, the hape, tobacco, or cacao at that time. You cannot show it. You cannot show it. So when you say E1B1A, by the way, class, that is a haplogroup, right? D and E. I'm about to show you some stuff you've never seen in your life. You talk about we evolved from monkeys or apes or primates or hominids. Y'all better stop playing. This is why they never wanted us to get in science. I'm all in science. I'm scienced out. My brain is scienced out. I promise you. I'm a science addict. And when original people get into science, they're going to figure out there is a wizard. So let's play this video.
Who was rumored to have sailed to South America with a crew of skilled Hale Africans.
So they're saying Ramesses was possibly in South America. Now, the reason they're saying South America is because they believe that cacao, hape, and cocaine only grew in South America. By the way, I just told you that's absolutely false, and not one human on earth could defeat my argument. That where I'm at right now, where I'm streaming from, all three of those plants were grown and can be grown. And were sold to colonists who reported it. They took it back. I'm talking about the Europeans. But this is before the Europeans. There was no Europeans traveling anywhere except for black nobility. And they were definitely traveling too. No white people during this time was doing nothing. Some of them were still in animal-like states, and others of them were a part of massive slave populations. That's where we get the word slave from, Slavic. They were in Eastern Europe and Russia, bound up in those mountains, only coming out as apprentices in certain sectors to work. This is why they only show up in the art in a certain section. So we know for a fact that you're stuck in the Columbus travel mindset. You think that these pale people were the first people to get in boats and to go anywhere. And that's how your mind computes history. You're wrong. And since you're absolutely wrong, it changes the whole concept of genealogy and genetics entirely. You can't even use 23andMe, ancestry, and African ancestry concepts on me based on what I'm presenting.
She extracted samples from the pharaoh's intestinal tract, and to her amazement found that they contained traces of Mary J., coca, and tobacco.
So he had, look, boy, Ramesses was lit. He had Mary J. We know what that is. Hashish. tobacco, codename Hape, and cocoa, which is cacao. Boy, he was lit. So now, what does this mean? It simply means the deductive reasoning before we get into the high level reasoning. It simply means that cacao, cocoa, and tobacco, and the coca plant, cocoa plant, Mary Jane, all right, and tobacco, all, yeah, all grow here. He had the hashish, which was on his side of the planet, because all throughout the Ebers Papyrus and the medical texts, they show you blue lotus and cannabis being used for all types of medicine. So let's cut this. America is ancient Egypt. That wasn't the case. The Egyptians hopped on their boats. Let me get that correct to you. Hopped on their motor boats. Since y'all up here thinking some other thing was going on, no, motor boats did not start with the modern world. Hell, you could read any Islamic text. They had missiles, motors on their boats, and all kind of stuff. Our people don't read, so yeah, they hopped on their boats and took a vacation. This was the hot vacation spot. Ain't it still the hot vacation spot? People in the ancient world came to America for the hot spot. Y'all going to Africa, Tanzania, Egypt? Yeah, that's cool. They came here for the hot spot. Let's keep.
She not only had the Egyptian pharaohs sample devices of tobacco and stardust, he also had a taste of chocolate, another substance absolutely unavailable in Africa at that time.
I need y'all to understand how long your people have had an economy of chocolate when you think of Hershey and Nestle. And now we have the business paradigms that are bringing these things back. This is why we're doing a dissertation on cacao. We're not just doing a dissertation on cacao for the past to prove where it came from. We're doing a dissertation on cacao in order to create newer, more functional products out of the system. So genetics and genealogy is not a past event to us. This is why we are not going to be in any lane like you. Genetics and genealogy is a present and future reality for us. We're not just going to ourselves or anybody else and trying to trace genealogy. We're making genealogy. And this is where you're stuck. You're stuck in linear objective thought, which is using your senses to observe and then reacting to what you observe, instead of the thought of the circle, which not only allows for you to use your objective mind to observe, but it also teaches you that the greatest thing that you have is human ideas and creativity, which are, by the way, are timeless. Ideas are not for the past. Ideas are for now and the future. And so now you have a circle where genetics and genealogy is not just a discussion of the past. We are about to have that, but it is also a discussion of the now and the future. What will your genealogy look like in the future? Baby daddy, baby mama. What will your genes look like in the future? What department do you have inside of your institution that teaches you what genes are, how they work, and what foods to eat, things to do in order to improve whatever genetics actually is, which you haven't been taught yet? And this plant right here has everything to do with improving genetics.
remains of Ramses II, who was rumored to have sailed to South America with a crew of skilled Hale Africans. She extracted samples from the pharaoh's intestinal tract, and to her amazement found that they contained traces of Mary J., coca, and tobacco. She not only had the Egyptian pharaohs sample devices of tobacco and stardust, he also had a taste of chocolate, another substance absolutely unavailable in Africa at that time. Remains of Ramses II, who was rumored to have sailed to South America with a crew.
All right, so you got that video. I just wanted you to see that. There's all types of information on Ramses to detail this book right here for your literature. Let's hold it up. Let's hold it up. Get this book right here. Ancient Ocean Crossings. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. The reason why you want to get the book is because it talks about a record of all of these pre-Columbian travels. Americans going to Africa. Africans coming to the Americas. Black Europeans coming to Africa. Asians coming to America. Americans going to Asia. Pacific Islanders coming to the Americas. Americans going to the Pacific Islands. All of this happened for thousands of years. Thousands. And so let us go back to important points, because we want to deal with genealogy, right? And I know why these people are believing that this is old Spain, this is old France, this is old England. You want to use those records to explain how you got your last name. You don't have to make up nothing to explain how you got your last name. We can make corrections properly. So now let's do that. Let's do that. First, let's go here. Let's go here. Now, you must know that these people cannot fool us anymore. Let's read here. The BIA is one of the oldest federal agencies in the U.S., with roots tracing back to the Committee on Indian Affairs established by Congress in 1775. Now, it's important to understand that Indian relations for the United States of America did not start with who they're about to talk about. First headed by Benjamin Franklin. First of all, his name wasn't Benjamin Franklin. His name was Richard Saunders. He took the name Benjamin for a reason, because there was another man named Benjamin Banneker. And most of what you know about in Benjamin Franklin's life actually belongs to Benjamin Banneker. Here's the question. Since they lived at the same time and the men are all famous, have you ever seen Benjamin Franklin interacting with Benjamin Banneker? Benjamin Banneker interacted with Thomas Jefferson. Benjamin Banneker interacted with George Washington, or the man we're calling George Washington. Benjamin Banneker interacted with Andrew Ellicott, the famous Rosicrucian. Benjamin Banneker interacted with the Quakers and the abolitionists and all the presidents and all of these people. You never saw one time where Benjamin Franklin, who was supposedly popular during this time period, interacting with Benjamin Banneker. I just had to note that. That's important. The committee oversaw trade, and treaty relations with various indigenous peoples until the establishment of the Bureau of Indian Affairs by Secretary of War John C. Calhoun in 1824. So the Bureau of Indian Affairs was started in 1824. To the brother who said your genealogy and your tribe, you have it back to the 1500s. I want to know one thing. What document do you have? What documents were you using before 1824? Because what we do know is that they began to keep a registry in the census of Indians after the BIA was created. I need you to prove to me that you were or your tribe was keeping a record prior to this time and that you have it. No, you don't have it. So there's a lot of people making stuff up, and this is why they're trying to import Europe into America and say, yeah, Great Britain or England was here, France was here, because now they're look at this fraud that's happening. They're taking the last name they have now and trying to establish it on this land by importing Europe into the Americas. Yet they're still saying they're indigenous. You don't have to do that. We have the maps. We have everything that we need for you to not make that mistake. So the Dawes rolls, the Kerner rolls, the Cherokee rolls, all of these rolls came after 1824. There were three major ways that you got the last name that you got. One was that the first interactions with people who spoke the English language between Aboriginals here and those people came by way of the Viking slave trade. The Viking slave trade was the trading of Nordic Slavs into the Americas, primarily into the Yucatan and the southern United States, where they brought white slaves. And these people had surnames. These people also were navigators, and they married into people on this land. It wasn't that England and France and other places were here. It was that the black nobility of Europe had friendly relations with indigenous Americans, and we've documented that through epigraphy. We know that slave trade happened. That's one. So the first European surnames to come on this land came from black people. The second way that you got it was that Europeans, black ones, fought in the wars between Great Britain and the natives and Great Britain and the colonists. We keep telling you white people just got into power, and you need to understand that, and we're documenting it. They're not arguing. They're just saying, we don't know what we're talking about. They're not disputing the primary sources. They're not doing anything. They're just saying, no, you're just making this up. But you need to understand that, because when you study Nova Scotia, you get a better picture of this. It explains how people were moving. And so some of those people married. I have the exact family names that were marrying into various tribes. Third, when the white people did revolt, they had the names of their lineal masters. They were slaves. The colonists were subject slaves. You do know that they came here to work. And when they revolted and started taking over parts of the land and people, they gave you their name. And your name could have been Kinich Ahau III. And you could have spoke Hittishi or some dialect of Hittishi like Muskogean. And so you did get a slave name from a slave. Think about that. Double entendre. Your slave name came from a slave. And so I'll use myself as an example. And I'll prove my point. Matter of fact, it's more scholarly to show you this than to even talk. Let's show you. My birth last name is Counts. Counts. All right. I want to show you where my name comes from so that nobody can challenge it. All right. Let's show you this, and then I'm going to take you to a primary source. I'm going to use myself as the example. My birth name is Marcus Ali Counts. My father named me after Marcus Garvey, Muhammad Ali, and the family surname. That is my patrilineal side. So now I can trace my patrilineal side to show you where it comes from. Counts, Counts, is anglicized. That surname was German. It's Kuntz. So let me show you that. Because now we're going to deal with genealogy and show you that most of the records that y'all are using, I'm going to tell you what it does. It proves the genocide. Proving your genealogy will not come from those records. It begins the process. Proving your genealogy in the past, the present, and the future takes a few more steps. Let's look at the steps. Because now you got to look at your surname, and I can help you. But you have to know the system. So, check this out. Yes, the English surname Counts is an Americanized form of the German surname Kuntz or Kunz. The German surname Kuntz is a variant of Kunz, is derived from the given name Conrad, meaning bold counsel in Old High German. Now, all I got to ask is, where were those Germans at that came here with this name, and who did they interact with? Because once I find that out, man, I got something beautiful that's going to happen for me and where my people are from. So I was born in Columbia, South Carolina, but my people were born in these. My people, as I start to trace the lineage, go further down into Beaufort to the islands and over into Georgia. Right? When I trace both sides. So now let's look at the early history of Georgia, because it's going to tell me whoever my people are, because I'm not European. You can look at me and see I'm not European, bro. And even though we had a period where we had a black nobility in Europe, for a long time there was nobody in Europe because of the cataclysms that happened there. But let's go into the subject. So now we cover that part. You know where the surname comes from. Now let's go back and let's see What Germans is he talking about? Oh, here we go. Now, you got to remember, America is inhabited and you have these slaves that are coming here. Or y'all like to call them indentured servants because it's a trick word. We're not even going to play that game with you. You don't know what that means. I guarantee you don't. Why were they on 7-year cycles? We went over the 7-year cycles. Uranus goes through a 7-year cycle through each zodiac that is placed into the scripture to say after the 7th year, your so-called brethren will be released from the debt that they owed. But let's go into it. Let's go into it. So where does the name counts come from? I'm going to show you where it comes from. The Salzburgers. Who are they? The Georgia Salzburgers, a group of German-speaking Protestant colonists, founded the town of Ebenezer in what is called Effington County. This is Georgia. Arriving in 1734, as 2 years after Oglethorpe got a charter to come here to do business. These charters were business ventures, interacting with other jurisdictions on behalf of the monarchy, using slave labor to work. But this group, arriving in 1734, the group received support from King George II of England and the Georgia trustees after they were expelled from their home in the Catholic Principality of Salzburg in present-day Austria. The Salzburgers survived extreme hardships in both Europe and Georgia to establish a prosperous and culturally unique community. Protestant expulsion. In 1731, Count Leopold von Firmian, the Catholic Archbishop and Prince of the independent Salzburg, issued the Edict of Expulsion, forcing 20,000 Protestants from their homes. He gave property subjects 3 months to dispose of their holdings and leave the country. Non-property persons had but 8 days to leave. A majority of these outcasts settled in East Prussia and Holland. New Ebenezer. Now, this is the city plan. Pastor Samuel Erzberger of Augsburg in present-day Germany and his organization, the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge, identified with the plight of the Salzburgers and asked King George II of England for help. George, a German duke and a Lutheran, sympathized with the Salzburgers and offered them a place in his Georgia colony. About 300 Salzburgers under the leadership of Pastors John Martin Boetius and Israel Grunu accepted the invitation. The first group of Salzburgers sailed from England to Georgia in 1734, arriving in Charleston, South Carolina on March 7th, then proceeding to Savannah on March 12th. They were met by James Oglethorpe, the founder of the Georgia colony, who assigned them a home about 25 miles upriver in the low-lying area of Ebenezer Creek. So you're going to read about these people. But what you read about these Germans is, one, they never practiced slavery. Two, when the Georgia colony was founded in 1732, the Georgia colony did not practice slavery. There were no slaves here in these areas. Now, let me stop this part. There were no slaves in these areas. Here we go. So what happened? Excuse me. What happened? I'm about to show you. Ha ha ha. Here we go. Who did the Salzburgers interact with when they were here? They interacted with a confederation that was here. I'm going to show you who the confederation is first, so you can see. Yes, the German Salzburgers who settled in colonial Georgia interacted with American Indian tribes, notably the Yuchi and the Creek, also known as Muskogee. These interactions were diverse and included trade. The Salzburgers and their American Indian neighbors exchanged goods and acts and gifts, acts of kindness and charity. Accounts describe instances of mutual helpfulness and charity between the two groups. Missionary efforts, and they talk about spreading Christianity, language barriers, etc. The Creek and the Yuchi. The Yuchi are part of the Creek Confederation. The Creek had the Upper Creek and the Lower Creek. That's what caused the Creek War. Who were the Creek? The Creek were the Guale, the Yamasee Confederation. Later, you had interlopers, Asian, come in and set up the Lower Creek side. And then you had the Creek War. The Creek War was a war between the Eurasians and the U-melanated Yamasee Confederation. The Red Stick War. So now, let's keep going. Let's keep going. When we look at the history, now this is prior to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That's why I mentioned the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So who was keeping genealogy on the Yamasee Creek at the time? Who was keeping genealogy? So now we have an issue. And that issue is, how do I want to put it? That issue is who was recording things. Because I did my genealogy on the patrilineal side 7 generations back to a man named William Counts, who lived in on the 1820 census. He appears in Columbia, South Carolina, but he has the name Counts, which means there's an anglicizing of the name. Why was there anglicizing of the name? You have to be a simple historian to understand this. When the British were taking more control over these areas, right? Anybody who was a European that had French name, German names, or whatever, they anglicized the names. So Kuntz, you don't see a lot of Kuntz here unless they came over later. The original Kuntz, who are Germans, have the name Counts. They're all over Edgefield, Aiken, Effington County, Upper Florida. You can search these people. This is how you know that they're German. However, you have black people who have the same name as these people who never practiced slavery at all and decided to take these anglicized names. What am I telling you that's very simple? That you will never find a person who has the last name Counts, who's from South Carolina, Florida, or Georgia, who looks like me. You will never find that lineage of people on slave documents. And we got slave documents. Some people were slaves, some people. You won't find them on slave documents. And the reason you won't find them on slave documents is because their interaction was with Georgia officials and these Germans who were in the eastern part of the lower and eastern part of Georgia on the border of what is now South Carolina and Georgia. And they interacted with the Yuchi. The Yuchi are the ones who are on record doing cacao agriculture in Georgia. The Yuchi were a part of the Creek too. And they wrote, did I not show you Shaquille's letter. I showed y'all the Shaquille's letter. Shaquille's letter is a letter from a Creek who wrote in red and black ink during the particular treaty in the 1700s, around the same time. And the documents were exported. This is on one of my lives. The documents were exported to London. So we know that the Upper Creek wrote. We don't know if the Asians wrote. And the document is in Hitishi. We have the document. So what I'm saying is, if you have the surname, this is how you do genealogy. You have to have circumstantial operations to understand the history to marry to the genealogy. The same thing with genetics. And so if you have Counts as a surname and you're from this area, I know for a fact that your lineage is Upper Creek. You didn't get the Counts name through slavery because there was no slavery with Counts. You anglicized it to adopt the language. And when we test some of these white families, this goes deeper into my family, and Strom Thurmond was a sinner. Look him up right now. I got family members in my family that's tied to these German lineages. There was some miscegenation. We can track it. And so if your surname is Counts, your family was never slaves. They adopted the name, anglicized the name through interacting with these Germans who also anglicized it. I ain't even dealing with 23andMe yet. I already dealt with them at the beginning. You're going to have to go back and watch the video again. And I'm coming to them too. So my point is, I don't care who you are. I can take your surname, put it in the Arna genealogy blender, tell you how the surname got here, who brought it, who were the people, who they interacted with at that time, how they interacted with them, and how that surname got attached to you. In what manner? So the Arna genealogy blender can kick out all the information. And so we need to learn the techniques of genealogy. I'm using myself as an example to show you. Now, not only that, when you look at the Yamasee Creek, they were the medicine keepers, the war tribe. All right? And through the stroke of a pen, you have all of these different things. The Muskogee Negroes, the Seminoles, the Yamasee. This is the same people. Wrote out of history and divided by very skilled historians. You don't understand that history is a military branch of governance. This is why you don't get to learn the real history. You have to get it scrambled. And so we can take your surname. I don't care if it's in Louisiana. I don't care if it's further in Texas. I don't care if it's closer over to Alabama, Florida, Virginia, Ohio. It doesn't matter. Primary text, primary interactions will display the whole scenario of how you got that name and tell you who you were in the process. And so that's stage one of genealogy. The next stage of genealogy, let me show you how this works. You want to look at a genealogy database? Okay, let's do that. I'm going to show y'all how this works. Because y'all think it works another way. No, it works this way I'm about to show you. I'm going to show you the Dawes rows, right? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to explain to me what I'm looking at. I need you to explain to me what I'm looking at because I'm confused. So this is the Dawes roll. All right. And I'm going to break down what you see. Now, this is thousands of names. This is 4,000 pages of document. I'm going to be able to show it to you. And this, you can do genealogy search on this. This document, the Dawes rolls, is made in the late 1800s. Let's pull it up. Before I go into the database, let's pull up the Dawes rolls and give you some education. We got Kerner rolls. We got all kind of rolls. Here we go. The reason why the Dawes rolls and these other censuses are dangerous if you don't understand them. If you understand them, they're not dangerous. If you don't understand them, you start thinking this is what verifies you as tribal. You have to have these. And then we're going to go into CBID policy, certificate of degree of Indian blood. It has nothing to do with blood. They reconstructed the genealogy trees with new $5 Indians. Let's show you how they did it. But let's look up the Dawes rolls so you can see what it is. Then I'm going to open up the actual Dawes rolls that we use so you can, you can get this. The Dawes rolls, also known as the final rolls of citizens and freedmen of the 5 civilized tribes. So let me explain something to indigenous people. This is why the Pan-Africans are saying that you were slaves of the 5 civilized tribes, because you were. It don't mean that you weren't indigenous. It just means that you got enslaved by the Eurasians and the $5 Indians. But you were the original American in the primary First Nations and tribes. I wrote books on this and I gave the data to help you out. I'm going to show you what I did already. Y'all don't be studying the books I gave y'all. I'm going to help y'all study them. Dawes rolls was for citizens and freedmen. So citizens here were the Eurasians and $5 Indians. Then freedmen were the Negroes. They switched the roles of the 5 civilized tribes. Were created by the Dawes Commission to list individuals eligible for land allotments. They started giving out services now. This leads to the BIA and how they get land and why you see all of these $5 Indians in leadership. They are hacking your trust funds, people. This is why you need to be politically organized. I've been trying to organize you hardhead niggas for the last over 15 years. And y'all been out here misunderstanding what somebody was trying to do for y'all. Now, y'all about to hit the zero market economy and they fired all the black women from all the jobs. AI taking up your shit. If y'all had listened to me 15 years ago, none of this would have meant anything. Now I got you in the stranglehold. So land allotments, they started giving out the money. These rolls were used to register members of the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole nations, as well as freedmen, formerly enslaved people and their descendants. The Dawes Commission was established by the U.S. government to divide communally held tribal lands. They wanted to tax the land, bro. They wanted the tribe to lose ownership because tribe represents jurisdiction as a government and give land allotments to individuals so they could tax them. You know what the Dawes Act was really about? It was an act of genocide to steal land and property. Y'all be so happy that y'all found ancestors on the Dawes roll, but let me get to the point. The rolls include citizens of the 5 civilized tribes and freedmen who were living in the Indian Territory between 1898 and 1914. Look, this is my great-grandparents. These are people who I grew up around who were born during this time. That's only 3 generations removed. My dad, his people, and my great-grandparents. Nellie McDaniel, Barnett Drive. That's my great-grandmother. Frances Moulton, great-grandmother. Mamie Counts, great-grandmother. Y'all need to understand how this works. So in 1898 to 1914, they developed the Dawes Rolls. They're listing people. They're reconstructing the genealogies, though. Yes, some of us did slip in. Some of us got left out. You have to know the political processes, the legal processes to handle remedy and restitution for those people or those lineages who got left out. You don't know. We do. We're proving that we do. So for those whose ancestors were not living in the Indian Territory during the enrollment period, other rolls like the Guion Miller rolls for the Cherokee, Baker rolls for the Eastern Cherokee may be relevant. So you got other rolls too. But let's look at the Dawes Rolls for a second. Let's look at it. That new ruling is not a new ruling. That new ruling is not a new ruling. They've been doing that over and over again. It's the same thing. The freedmen get kicked out of the tribe or get blocked in processing because they're not considered original lineal descendants. Then they get a court to get them back in. So, a federal court, a Supreme Court, etc. Then the tribe passes legislation inside, or they get some type of other thing going on where there's a balance of powers and people get kicked back out again. Quit begging to get into places. But you know what? If y'all want to, y'all can do that. I have no problem. Go ahead and keep begging to get into places amongst the Eurasians and $5 Indians. You'll never have power. And this is the problem with you. You want to put Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. But it's all right. You like to beg, and go ahead on and keep begging. Let me get to this Dawes roll so I can show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is the Dawes roll. I want you to look at this. Look at this. So you're on the side, you'll see the tribe. You'll see Cherokee, and then you go down more. After Cherokee, you'll see a different abbreviation. You know what I mean? You could go down further, and you'll see Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Seminole, Delaware. Actually got 6 on here. All right. So that DEL right there, that's Delaware. And then that SEM, that's Seminole. All right. So you see those letters, and then you have different places. Muskogee. So I need you to look at something. I need you to look at something. Look at the names. Look at the names. Last name Abbott. If this is a Native American census, why you got the name Abbott on there? The name Abbott is not, I don't care what y'all saying. This is why y'all not understanding this stuff. Y'all got 8th grade reading level skills trying to understand something that's a little bit more complex. The name Abbott is a European name. Abney, Abraham, Ackley, Acorn, Adair. Christie, Dawson, Downing, Flanagan. Every now and then, you'll see something like this. Uh-oh. What they doing with an original name on here? So you got to understand time period. This is why y'all need institutions to interpret the data. Tell me how these European names got on here. This is a European census for indigenous people. Where are the censuses you kept for yourself? You think census writing started with Europeans? So my point to you is simple. Yes, you can trace your genealogy. Let me show you. Let me show you how you can trace your genealogy. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to make this easy for you. I'm going to make this easy for you. All right? Let me go down to Choctaw real quick and show you something. I'm trying to get to some of my ancestors' surnames who are on here. And they show up on the Choctaw. Here you go. Didn't I tell you? I've searched all of these and I got 6 of them that are valid. But you see this name. Counts. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because you're misinterpreting the data. You're misinterpreting the data. Census rolls are the colonizers' methodologies to start trimming away from who was here. This is how they did it. Who can go back to the lecture that I did with the last head of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, right? Which is a department under the Department of Interior. I did the whole lineage for the lady who was trying to claim that she was a Pueblo Indian, and I proved that her family were not Pueblo Indians. I proved it. I proved. She said that she was a 35th generation Pueblo. You know how long 35 generations is? That lady lied on a federal government website. The lecture is on YouTube. It's on here. Go back to my lectures that I did on the Bureau of Indian Affairs. She said she was a 35th, Deb Holland, 35th generation Pueblo. That girl went back 3 generations to some Spanish people who was on a reservation. So what I'm saying is you're not doing enough with the genealogy that you have. You have to understand self-identity, forming political instruments and jurisdictions that can address the harm and highlighting the harm through the proper procedures, both autonomously and with interacting with the current political structure. Because the autonomy side is what we do in ARNA every day. That's why we have genealogists. We didn't send genealogists to Harvard to study. They studied at Aboriginal University. So they're going to go and pull up the family members that you have, and you need to collect all of those family members. You need to know as much about what's on these records as possible. I'm not putting down the records. I'm explaining them in a clear fashion so you can understand what they are. They are the colonizers' tactics to create the CDB CDIB policy. So now let me show you what that is. You need to know what that is. All right. Let's check this out. CDBI, Certificate of Indian. Yeah, we're about to go through this. Let's go through what this is. I need you to understand this. The certificate of degree of Indian blood has nothing to do with real blood. You're not taking a test. It's a document issued by the Bureau of Indian Affairs that certifies a person's specific degree of Native American or Alaskan Native ancestry within a federally recognized tribe. It is essentially proves lineage to an ancestor listed on the tribal census roll. Remember the rolls. This certificate is often a key requirement for accessing certain tribal and federal programs and benefits, as well as for tribal enrollment. The CDIB serves as official documentation for an individual's blood quantum, demonstrating their direct lineage to a federally recognized tribe. It is specifically for individuals who are members or have lineage to a federally recognized tribe. While it may be carried as identification, the CDIB is not a photo identification card. Information provided for the CDIB application is generally kept confidential, except when related to specific official duties. The CDIB is often a prerequisite for tribal enrollment, though tribal enrollment criteria can vary and may include other factors. The concept of blood quantum itself is controversial, with some arguing that it is an outdated and potentially harmful measure of Native identity. There are ongoing discussions about whether tribal membership and CDIB policies should be more inclusive and consider other factors besides blood quantum. The CDIB policy also raises questions about tribal sovereignty and the rights of tribes to determine their own membership criteria. Oh, you ain't about to determine nothing. You ain't about to determine nothing. They have been gatekeeping this trust fund of over $1 trillion for a long time. Trillions of dollars, excuse me. Obtaining the necessary documentation to prove lineage for CDIB can be challenging, especially for individuals with ancestors from earlier eras. That's tricky. Now watch this. That's tricky. United States Department of Interior, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Talika Agency, Certificate of Degree of Indian Blood. All right. 3/16. What does this mean? What does this mean? 3/16. Why is she 3/16? Is she a recipe? What does the 3/16 mean? It means this. After they got the Eurasians on the books and the other white Europeans, if you were not married to them, so now let's go back to the Trail of Tears, because the Trail of Tears is the beginning of all of this. In the Trail of Tears, 1830, remember, let's go back. Remember, same thing, all right? They started this whole fake thing. Now, we're going to get around this so easy. I need you to understand this. Backdrop. Remember, Bureau of Indian Affairs, 1824. Trail of Tears, Indian removal, 1830-ish. Andrew Jackson. All right. Remember him, the Moore killer, the Abo killer, the one who signed away land and wasn't even a president. Trail of Tears is not just the marching of people to Oklahoma. It is the cutting away of the real history and the lineages. So by the time you get to Oklahoma, you have white people and Eurasians who are the primary people who are going to benefit from this. And so with that factor present, post the Indian removal, you have a few events. You have the Civil War, which we're doing a documentary on. You have Reconstruction. You have the flooding of all the black cities and the towns, and the destroying of records. Then you have the reestablishment of records. Why were all these towns flooded? Why was Tulsa burned? All of these black towns kept the lineal family members. And so the lynching period, Reconstruction, was about running people off of land, running whole cities out, and changing of names. I'll give you an example. On my father's side, his mother's lineage, all right, Mattie Pearl Counts married my grandfather, Robert Counts. Her maiden name was Mattie Pearl Jones. Her parents, Nellie Jones and the Jones patriarch. But his last name wasn't Jones. He left from where he was in the eastern part of South Carolina, headed towards Georgia, to come to Columbia, and his name was Tillman. Why did he change his name? This is early 1900s. Why did he change his name? He changed his name because he was on the run. So if you Tillman, oh yeah, we related. But he took the name Jones. Jones wasn't the name. My point to you is our people were using these surnames to escape. And the Trail of Tears is not an authentic event to preserve history. It was slaughter. The Trail of Tears is a whole war within itself. Go look at the war that was going on during the Trail of Tears. Who were they fighting? The Seminole and the Upper Creek. The Muskogees. They still have John Horse, who traveled to Oklahoma with some of the Yamasee or Muskogeans, and they end up going to Mexico because the Duval family, a notorious Asian family. Go look up the name Duval. If you black with the name Duval, oh, you got some Eurasians that was interacting with your bloodline that was trying to literally cut off all evidence that black people are indigenous to this land. Duval. I know y'all people personally. Go look at all the Duval families in Oklahoma. You want to know who your enemies are? You don't even know where to look. You could be down in Oklahoma City at a court with a Duval operating as a county clerk, wondering why your paperwork missing, wondering why your processes is getting aligned. You don't know the family lineages who are here, who fought your mamas and your daddies. Genealogy is going to re-invoke who was who did who dirty, how they did them dirty, and when they did them dirty. John Horse took a part of the Muskogeans into Mexico. The signs and stuff are still there across the Texas border. The Mexican government gave them land at the time that they were fighting in the Mexican-American War in the 1840s. What do you think led to the Civil War? Texas wasn't even a state at the time. Who did they take Texas from? Texas Rangers? You want to go back and look at Texas Ranger history and find the white people family names? You think they don't know who you are? Are you crazy? You think these people don't know who you are? That is your problem. You out here, African out, they laughing at you, importing Nigerians to get your civil rights, labor force opportunities, grants, and money. They imported Africans 3 times to betray you. We on the 3rd leg of the DEI. Trump came and shut the shit down. You mad at Trump? Trump trying to help your dumb black. He said it. You worry about whether Trump is on the Epstein list. I don't care if Trump is on the Epstein list. I ain't got nothing to do with no damn Epstein list. I'm here to do some work. All these entertainers on the damn Epstein list and the Diddy list. That's what they do. But you got a dude in the office who's telling you, I'm trying to get these people out of here so you can get your black jobs back. You got mad because he said black jobs. They are black jobs. You got other minorities who stole your labor force. Made your sons want to be rappers instead of HVAC, engineering, electricians, carpenters, and all of these things. Now AI is displacing your women who thought they were the breadwinners. And we circling back, not understanding that somebody is working for us and you think they're working against us is because you don't know how to play on the chessboard. Those are black jobs. Those were jobs that were set aside for you during civil rights. Now everybody in them but you. And your sons is on PS5 or whatever the hell they on. And I'm not against the gaming world, but you're starting to continue to feminize, make men. No. Bruh, get your hands dirty. Y'all complaining about BlackRock. Oh, BlackRock is the devil. BlackRock controls the funds and they're the Illuminati. BlackRock just said in their portfolio, they need at least 500,000 electricians in order to run their operations domestically in the United States. Until you create a BlackRock, nigga, get these foreigners off of our land so those jobs can go to your husbands. Are you crazy? You got black women arguing all over line to help whatever is going on with these liberal black women, not understanding that their brother is at home on a PS5, unemployed, and they don't understand genealogy. I do. And so what I'm saying to you is you need to circle back, understand who your enemies are, who your friends are, because we got them in detail. We do genealogy not just for your lineage. We are finding out what surnames of people who are working against us and have been doing it for 5, 6. Yeah, that's how it works. And so what I'm saying to you is rewind, go back. The Trail of Tears is not what you think it is. The Trail of Tears was the cutoff point to cut off black people from their lineage. Then those 5 civilized tribes who from 1830 to 1866 had the support of the United States government, they ended up making you freedmen. 1 to 2 generations later, you are freedmen as a slave in their tribe. Now you think you're Choctaw, Cherokee, Delaware, all kind. You don't know nothing. And the only group that is present who can break this information down and put it in documented literature is Arna. And when you go to the back of this book, from page, I'm about to show it to you on the screen. From page, I'm going to make a map out of this too. I got to make a map. I've just put it in alphabetical order. From page 189 to page 225, I put the names, excuse me, not 189. I'm going to open this up and show you because I got it here. From page 192 to page 225, I put the names of all of the original tribes who were on the land before the 5 civilized tribes, where they were in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Florida. I put them all there, listed them alphabetically, and showed you where they were. You know how long it took me to do this research? It's here. It's right here. I'm about to open it up and show you on documentation. Let me show you. Since you don't believe me, y'all think I'll just be writing books to write books. These books need to be sold all over the earth. Not only that, oh, we listen. What is going on? My keyboard went out. Hold on. Let me reboot. There we go. Be talking so much, my power going out. Slave trade. All right, so let's open up the slave trade book, and I'm gonna take you right to it. I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna take you right to page 192 so you can see what I'm showing you. And then you'll be able to handle this information appropriately. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to make a map out of this, get the Aboriginal University folk to make a map out of this, and you'll be able to see this on a map. We might even get this as an exercise for the children. Let them make a map out of this for us. We start right here. You don't read about these names right here. Afagula, Agawam, Awehaya, Ajuz, Alansar, Algonquin, Allerton, Alabama, Creeks. That's Tuscaloosa. Damn near 8 feet tall. I named them in alphabetical order. They are all here. You ain't going to let nobody tell me nothing about what we have done. Y'all, these people don't know what we have done. They have no idea what we are doing here. My own people. I got to come back on YouTube just to remind y'all what we're doing. Sometimes I be quiet too long. That's the problem. Look at all of these names. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Pawnee, Pequot, excuse me. The Sauk, Shinnecook, Tuscarora, Tunicas. Didn't the emperor tell you the name Tunica was tribes? Look at this. We're not playing with y'all. And look at it. Let's make them read it and weep. Look at them. We don't got to make nothing up. One girl arguing with me about the Mississippi versus the Mexican Valley culture. It's the same culture. Exact same lineage. I'm about to go into the genetics and I'm about to blow your mind. But what I'm telling you is that you have families who are there. Now you need a political process. You need strategy now. You need people who are just not online collecting money for their school for 15 years. You don't need people trying to convert you to a religion. Stop talking your so-called spirituality with people. That's your private business. What are you evangelizing your private relationship with your deity to other people for? That's your business. If you're doing good in the community, do some philanthropy. Stop trying to convert people. That's how we got dumb right now. We got converted to your African religions, your Asian Buddhisms, your European Judaism and Christianity into your Arabized version of the original Islam. Because ain't none of y'all practicing the original anyway. Stop lying. Y'all follow everything the Arabs do, including their fake Ramadan. Ain't nobody here to convert nobody to no damn religion. That's ideology. We're talking identity. And when we're talking identity, we're talking it in a safe way so for you could understand what the future is. Because what you're missing is the fact that your ass don't have a plan. And everybody else is planning. They planned against you. I'm naming the family names. You want me to go more? Who brought these names here? Who brought these names here? If your last name, you black, and your last name is Fortune, what does that mean to a person like me? I want to look at your lineage because I'm about to tell you something about yourself if your last name is Fortune. Something interesting about your lineage. Or Gates, Henry Louis Gates. What do these last names actually mean? What do they lead to? You need a different type of world of study, and you don't study like us. You study linear, you study observation-based, you study with your senses. You don't study in a circular fashion. You don't. You're collecting data, not knowledge. I'm going to keep saying that to people. Now let's start to shift the gears. Let's start to shift the gears because what I'm explaining to you about genealogy is something very important. Oh, we could take you back and we could tell you what happened to everybody, but it's not going to be the way that you think it is. But now we have a political entity already set up. You see what I'm trying to say to you? The political entity is your remedy. Because when we step to Trump with our OFA and our petition and our organized effort, they have midterm elections coming up in 2026. They need the black vote again to survive in the House and the Senate. You have power, but you don't have no leadership. God damn it, stop listening to them dumbass niggas and listen to me. I don't have an ulterior motive because I don't have a boss. I work for myself. Nobody can fire me. I don't have no false promises in the community. Everything that I said that I was going to do, I already did. I could retire today, hand over the little things I need to hand over to people, and the machine will run. So I don't have no ulterior motives. You can't get me with pussy. You can't get me for money. I know how to make money. You can't get me for power. We created our own power structure. What you gonna sell me? Nothing. So all I need my people to do is just listen to good advice. The good advice is you need a political entity. I'm sorry. You're going to have to learn to collaborate and work together. I know you don't like to do that unless you're told to by your masters. But some of you are doing it right now, and I'm thankful for you. However, This is extinction or bottleneck survival talk that we're having here. And that's a good way to segue into genetics. Extinction or survival bottleneck talk. So now let's go into genetics. What is a gene? What's a gene? Watch this. I'm about to blow your mind. I'm about to blow your mind. Yeah, I'm about to blow your mind. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. It's time. What's a bottleneck and what's extinction? Because as soon as you can identify that to me, I can tell you the whole story of how they faking this genetic stuff. Now, you have heard 23andMe and Ancestry and African Ancestry, etc. All right. All kinds of stories about them. Can you trace genetic genealogy? Is this stuff real? Is it fake? What is it? Oh, we're about to break this down to you. Very, very good. In a very good way. All right, so I'm going to go to the book, The Power of Sex. And I'm going to start on page 151. Is that it? Yeah. And then I'm going to work my way through this. And then I'm going to go also from page, let's see if I can, oh, I did not mean to do that. Sorry about that, guys. I lost you. I'm about to share what I'm looking at right now, but I just got to get mark my pages. So bottlenecks in survival, because that's where you at right now. I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove it from your sexome. I'm gonna prove it from the sexome is a form of a microbiome in your genetics. I'm gonna prove it from your physical health. I'm gonna prove it from your lineage. Now, when you do a test to see who your parents are, how is that test done? That test is done where you take short tandem repeats on the male Y chromosome or the female mitochondrial DNA, and you take a section, right? And you take that same section of genes, DNA, against two people. You want to find out, are you the father? You want to find out, are you the father? Are you? All right. Let me find this. Oh, I got to find out where this thing is. It's not in it. It's not in the book that I'm showing. All right. Transverse mutation. Let me do that. All right. Let me open up this. Give me 1 second. My bad. I thought I had this already lined up. I got to open this up a different way. Got to find these charts. Give me 1 second. Should have pulled this up earlier. But we're about to go through this. Are you African based on genetics? That's what we're about to go through. Let's just kill this finally. Finally, let's finalize this. We're not going to let nobody get away. All right. Let me open up my other files and then I'll be ready. Give me 1 second. There we go. There we go. Got all my files. I had to give me a second. Give me a second. There we go. Let me open up my files. I'm going to give you a nice class on genetics there that nobody else can give you. Nobody can give you this. I promise you. This is exclusive. It's exclusive for real. All right. So I just got to open up these last few files. Just let me get this out. All right. So here we go. Oh, this is about to get ugly, y'all. This is about to get crazy. All right. So you got questions, I see. Also, the Supreme Court case in Oklahoma where 2 were arrested, but 1 black was considered not tribal Indian. All right, so now, again, the approach that y'all taking, I see people talking about blood types. Most people are O. Y'all got this whole fake O negative Avatar, Anunnaki bloodline. Like, y'all know what y'all talking about. O positive is the original. But it doesn't matter what your blood type is because we can change your blood type. It don't matter what your blood type is. I'm talking, see, you don't want to lead. Let's talk about that. Because I'm about to go into this, but you don't want to lead. Because to lead, you can't fake it. Put me in a room with geneticists and watch me cook. This is what I'm about to show you. I don't care where y'all invite me. Invite me. I dare you to invite me. Don't invite me. So let's go through this. We're talking about something so sacred. Let's go. Let's go. The political part, we're going to circle back after we finish this genetics part, but the political part is solved through indigenous jurisdiction and governance. That's how you solve the problem. You don't go try to be the Black Panthers. You don't go try to be Malcolm X. You don't go try to be Noble Drew Ali and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey and the ancient Indians of the past with your feathers and your peacock. That's not how you solve the problem in 2025, 15,111 on the original man and woman's calendar. That's not how you solve the problem. You bring fresh intelligence to the equation. You organize yourself to show in nature that you are worthy to receive, to be a receptacle of the energy that's about to flow, the currency. See, you don't want to organize, which means that you don't want to follow none of that African voodoo, indigenous, Moorish stuff that y'all are talking. Y'all be talking about universal laws and all kind of shit. And as soon as it's time to perform the corresponding reality in a living circuit of reality, your ass is stuck on niggas ain't shit. What if I would have said niggas ain't shit? There would be no honor. I don't believe that niggas ain't shit. I believe that our people are the shit. And we can do great things. It just takes authenticity to perform. And it doesn't matter how much unauthenticity is out there. Go prove who you are. Because the light switch is on everybody. They just need a perturbation. They need a slight nudge. What am I looking at right here then? Because we got the jurisdiction part figured out. What am I looking at? You are looking at what you need to know to disprove Darwin. You are looking at what you need to know to prove the hominidal origin hypothesis, the out of Africa hypothesis, the we all evolved from hairy, pale-skinned hominids into some dark-skinned people through a mutation in cancer that developed into melanin. Like, this is your current evolutionary biology class that you are in. You need to discount the whole goddamn thing. So I'm gonna start right here. Now, you might not know what you're looking at. That's okay. I'm about to take PhD material and give it to some students to understand it. This is called mutation types, since we're talking about bottlenecks and extinction. Extinction is your line dies off. and they're elements to extinction. Bottleneck survival is the people who do unique things together that no matter what the external catastrophe is, whether it's psychological, social, environmental, they are on some type of shared information that allows them to survive the whole thing. So when you talk about bottlenecks in history, they're going to tell you the dark-skinned people somehow, some way happen to be the basis of the bottleneck. They were able to survive. What were they doing? Let's talk about these mutations to explain it. Germline mutations. Germline mutations are mutations in the sperm and the egg, which hold half of the chromosomal basis. I don't care who you talking to, what these people are saying out here. People online saying they about to go sit in the sun and have babies again without the agency of men. You hairy chest alpha women, y'all can have that. We don't want none of what your bloodline got because you are actually cursed. And what you are speaking is something you spoke before in time. Yeah. That's your lineage speaking. We know who you are by what you are saying and doing because you've been doing it. Germline mutations happen in the germline, and therefore, if not methylated, I'll come to that and explain what it is, they can stay in the line and get passed down to children. So you say, oh, it's your lifestyle. It's not the genes that get passed down. Please hush and have a seat. Please hush and have a seat. Please hush and have a seat. You don't know what you talking about. Yes, you can transfer disease memory through a bloodline. However, you can also erase disease memory from a bloodline. So yes, disease can be genetic, but you thought genes were something that they're not. Genes are memory. And that is all. So if it gets in the germline, if it gets in the sperm, if it gets in the egg, it can be handed down. Which leads me to my point. Number 1, Exhibit A. Y'all are doing haplogroup testing on nucleotides, which are ACTG. But y'all not doing haplogroup testing on the sexome or the semen microbiome or the allopolymorphisms, because if you did, you could sit here with me and I can tell you who is descended from primates, hominids, or related to the monkey family by looking at the Y allopolymorphisms. Yap positive and yap negative, never heard of that. You won't hear Rick Kittles talking about it. Rick Skittles Kittles, or Henry open the floodgates talk about it, because once you start talking about it, you're going to get real global genealogy. Y'all want to talk about somebody came from hominids? Who? Because we have the allotransposons. Yeah, you're going to have to, this is class with me. You got to take notes when I'm talking. What's a transposon? Transposon simply means that we're getting some strange things happening in the DNA. You have vertical transfer of lineage, right? Of course you have it. Vertical transfer of lineage from parent to child. Then you have transposons that can have horizontal gene transfer, which becomes vertical transfer. Let me explain what that means. I can get a gene code in me from pathogens, bacteria, and xenobiotic organisms that infects me and does something to my genes. If it alters my sperm on the chromosomal level, that is called horizontal gene transfer that my father did not have. And therefore, I can pass that down to my son when it's never been in the lineage. transposition. The problem is modern scientists describe transposons as strictly a genetic action when they should be describing the mechanisms by which it comes in. The example is what? Sickle cell. They'll tell you that sickle cell is related to malaria, and it is a what? Adaptation to malaria. How do you get malaria? You get malaria from a parasite, a mosquito that's carrying the parasite. You don't get it from the mosquito, you get it from the parasite on the mosquito. Germline mutations are real. That's my point. Somatic mutations are what happened during your lifetime. You don't pass them down to your children. So if you didn't get a memory code of cancer from a parent, but you get cancer, you got it from external stimulation in your environment that caused those cells to do what they're doing. Somatic cells. They are not the reproductive cells. They are somatic. They are your liver cells, your cells that make up your hair, etc. Chromosomal alterations. Chromosomal alterations are when the chromosome itself gets shifted. An example of this is Down syndrome. Down syndrome is chromosomal alteration. Instead of having a pair at the 21st locus, and remember, DNA is a ball. When you roll it out like that, you are looking at mitotic divide. So it's not a line of X's. It's a ball that unravels itself. But chromosomal alterations is when you get 3, because you got some type of break there. And now there are 3 chromosomes being read, and it's going to cause this little look that you have with people in Down syndrome. Are there any people that look familiar to the people with Down syndrome? I'm not being facetious. I'm not joking on people. Look at a person with Down syndrome and look at the Earth population, and who do they look similar to? Yeah, you're going to get a question that's answered there, a big one. So chromosomes can break, they can alter, they can transposition, they can do that. Next, you have point mutations. Point mutations go from missense to nonsense to stable. And so these point mutations can lead to the last one, which is a frame shift mutation. Point mutations and frame shift mutations. A point mutation example is sickle cell. You get a switch out of one amino acid to valine. And then when the RNA is trying to read it to make tissues, it's making the sickle cell red blood cell because there's a shift. It's like taking a letter out of the alphabet. If I take M and N out of the alphabet and I try to read it, it's no longer the alphabet. The words that I'm going to construct are different because I don't have no M's and N's now. It's going to mutate the language. And so these are the 5 types of mutation in human biology and nature that you can look up, and now you can see why somebody has pale skin versus why somebody has dark skin. You don't have to guess. That's point number 1. So now we're way different than Africans. How do I know that? Let's go back to the E1B1A. E1B1A is YAP positive for a particular type of protein transporter. But the Albert Perry line does not have that mutation. Albert Perry was born on Indian land in the 1800s, and he has the A00 Y chromosome haplogroup. He was in Florida and South Carolina. We got it all over. I'm in the A haplogroup. We don't have that YAP that the E1B1A people have. And that's okay. That's a difference. If there's something there to fix, we have to understand how to do that. Positive eugenics. But let's go We are definitely not done. We just starting. Let's go to, I had to establish that first. Now let's go to our next slide, just this one. I'm going to give you this class real quick. Adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine. A, C, T, G. A's and T's go together. Excuse me. A's and T's go together. C's and G's go together. This is the code. What happens when the code is off? You get a mutation. But this is called a single nucleotide polymorphism. Single nucleotide polymorphisms is what they use to test large population databases. To say, oh, you're from Africa, you're from Asia, you're from Europe, you're a Native American. They take these S&Ps in large amounts, in the millions, cross-compare them to say who has a common ancestry. Who has a common ancestry? Common ancestry. Common ancestry means we have an ancestor in the past, some type of way, we like 100 millionth cousins or something like that. Way back. Because you can't have that and I have that if our people were not intermarrying. Keep the first part of this conversation that I talked about in mind, the pre-Columbian interworld network of travel. Why Ramesses had cocaine, hape, and cacao in his stomach. So if Ramesses, I'm not saying this is true, but I am saying that the phenomena is definitely true. If one of them pharaohs had a baby over here and it was a boy, what would his Y chromosome be? It would be E1B1A. Introducing a population from a foreigner who we have proof that he was traveling into the Americas. Or we got the opposite. What if Ramesses was an American who was deposed to Egypt to rule? Because that's the other side. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. That would mean he branched off from E1B1A in the Americas and transposed it into Africa. Either one could be true. The point is, these are pre-bottleneck DNA lines. Europeans and Asians can't get them unless they get them from us. They have to mix with us to get those. The A group, the D groups, the E groups, they have to mix with us to get those. You're not going to find Q groups and C groups amongst those pharaohs or these Ahals. You're not going to find them. Not only that, we have mutations that occur here when T and C get together or when A and G get together. So this shows you what can get together, and this shows you what should not get together. And so thymine, cytosine mutations are present in the skin of white people, which leads to actinic keratosis, which is problems with the skin. Let me prove it to you, because I have to do this, because now we got to deal with genealogy in a very particular way, because I got to prove my point through biology, phenotype. And then I'm going to go to these tests that you're taking to just prove these tests ain't shit that you're taking. They're not. They're not. They're not what you think they are. These tests for genealogy are not what you think they are. You're not that smart to interpret them right. They're not what you think they are. And I'm already proving it. It's about to just get a little bit thicker. All of this is in books. Let me prove my point. I showed you the transversion chart. Now let me prove my point. And I'm going to show you what happened to your DNA. Nobody can show you this. Let me show you. I'm going to show you what happened to your DNA. I'm going to show you how to get all of it back. So you have adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. All right? We talked about diversity being higher in people because of carbon. Carbon is found in purines in our DNA. Purines are adenine and guanine nucleotides, or A and G. They have more carbons, which means they are molecularly more intelligent. They are considered base alkaline. Cytosine and thymine are pyrimidines. They are acidic. They have less carbons. In a gene code, a purine is always paired with a pyrimidine. So adenine is always with thymine, A and T. That's what I wanted to show you. You saw that blue line going across there. Guanine is always paired with cytosine. So A and T going together, G and C going together. So A can sometimes go with C, and G can sometimes go with T. But A and G are not going together, and T and C are not going together. So you got a nice little code here. And there's a reason why they're not supposed to go together. This goes down to the molecules and the law that I am trying to get our people to understand, that they're calling attraction and repulsion. It's not that. It's the same law of a magnet. If you have a magnet and you break them in half, you create two new magnets. But that point that you broke before you break it is a neutral point. You can use the magnet exercise in order to prove this point that I'm making to you. And what is the point? Likes attract. And so what you're going to get is atomic and molecular higher repulsion rates and higher radiative force, which is going to cause entropy, which is what leads to a mutation. High entropy. But it's how you are dealing with chemistry and how things are supposed to go together. If you don't know that science, then you're going to build wrong. This goes into what you eat, who you mix with, who you have a baby with, everything. It has been proven that UV light causes fusion of the acidic pyrimidines, which have less carbons. This causes molecular lesions. In this process, the body will attempt to add 2 alkaline apurines for repair, but often fails because of the lack of alkaline purines in the sequences. It is the heavy nitrogen nucleotides on the DNA level that are damaged by sunlight. The heavy carbons have no issue with the UV light. Look at this study from Genome Medicine, cancer mutation signatures. I need you to pay attention to what I'm saying. This is a classroom. I'm not going to keep you that much longer. You good. Pay attention to what I'm saying. You're going to get the principle of it. Cancer mutation signatures from sunlight. A major external source of DNA damage is UV light, UVB light specifically, which can cross-link adjacent pyrimidine bases, CC, CT, TC, TT. So go back to those and you see what's cross-linking. I'm going to show it to you again on the chart that I just showed you with the blue and the red lines. So once they cross, what's going to happen? If such a pyrimidine dimer is not repaired and becomes a substrate for DNA replication, if it stays like this in the DNA, then most DNA polymerases will follow the A rule and insert two adenines opposite the dimer. Why are they inserting two adenines? They're trying to neutralize the adverse impact of this gene mutation. Late repair or another round of replication can then immortalize the original lesion as a C to T transition mutation. Thus, the mutational signature of UV light is predominantly C to T transitions. Other features. So this is how white folks get cancer in their skin. Melanoma. This is the DNA explanation of it. I need you to understand this is the DNA explanation of it. Somebody asked, is the body more intricate and intelligent than a computer? Are you kidding me? Yes. So now let me go back. I need to share that about just one factor. This is the melanocortin system, right? Sun and how it impacts the skin, how the radiation impacts the skin. Now let me go back real quick because I'm going to Neanderthals. Y'all know where I'm going. You got to know where I'm going. If you don't know where I'm going, I'm about to blow up the whole evolutionary biology things. So now this is what it was saying. Got adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. So these C to T transitions, or C to C, or T to T. These are the transitions that will create this red configuration into a mutation. So when it is, they'll put the adenine on both sides. Adenine is a repair nucleotide. All right. What happens when you get adenines together? 3 adenines together. What amino acid is it? I'm gonna just give you a jewel. You put the adenines together in triplets, a codon, amino acid, it becomes the amino acid lysine. Why do you think they give you lysine for immunity? It is a DNA repair amino acid. So I just wanted you to see these transitions again. Let me show you lysine. I want to back everything up, but then I'm gonna jump to my point. All right. Lysine codons. Let me pull it up. So let's go. Lysine codons. I'm showing you something so significant, but I'm doing it in a way to build you up. It's a classroom, right? I got to do it the right way. So you take amino acids all the time. They tell you, take your amino acids. The codons for the amino acid lysine are AAA and AAG. Thank you. Adenine, 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 or adenine, adenine, guanine. These are all purines, so they're going to keep the coding for the same tissue or the same function. Got it? All right. Now, now we got a problem. Let's go to the sun issue now. We showed you the codons. We showed you the mutation structures. Now let's show you where it comes from. Let's show you where it comes from. Because we're going to go back to this genealogy thing. Because we got to prove something about peoples. Actinic keratosis is a skin condition resulting from sun exposure, has been linked to Neanderthal DNA in modern humans. Research suggests that Neanderthal alleles or gene variants can increase the risk of developing actinic keratosis. This is one of several ways Neanderthal DNA influences modern health, including neurological, psychiatric, and immunological traits. The skin condition is characterized by rough, scaly patches that develop due to prolonged sun exposure. It is considered a precancerous condition because it can potentially progress to the squamous cell carcinoma. Studies have shown that Neanderthal DNA contributes to the risk of developing actinic keratosis in modern humans. This is based on research analyzing electronic health records and genomes of a large cohort of individuals. Beyond actinic keratosis, Neanderthal DNA has been associated with other traits, including mood disorders, depression, hypercoagulation, and tobacco use, according to a study published in Science. Yeah, they were using tobacco. They were trying to fix it. So this gene code, I'm showing you where these mutations come from. Now there's black people out here saying that they have problems with exposure to the sun. It's either your super bad diet or you have some Neanderthal DNA inside of your body that you need to fix. And the body shows you can try to use lysine to neutralize the dimmer. Neutralizing the dimmer is going to stop a frame shift mutation if it works. Because the difference between this right here and something pale is not just a friendship mutation. It's a point mutation. It's a chromosomal mutation. It is a somatic cell mutation. And it's a germline. It's all five at the same damn time. Now, they tell you Neanderthals died, but some people have Neanderthal genes. They tell you that Europeans have up to 4% Neanderthal DNA. No. 1 second. Get this book. You're going to learn that Europeans have up to 50%, 40%, 30%. It varies of Neanderthal DNA. Now, the issue with this is, who is the common ancestor between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens? Because now we got to deal with Africa. And what happened in Africa and what came out of Africa. Let me help you. Now I get to help you for real. Because I'm going to go back to my book and I'm about to prove something very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. This is very, very interesting. Let me ask you a question. If we came from monkeys or hominids or whatever y'all saying, y'all like when people use the term monkey. Oh, it shows he's not academically astute. Yes, I am. I'm being facetious. But here's the problem. Let me open this up real quick. All right, I got that open. One more. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my stuff open. Let me get my stuff open. All right. I know I've been talking for a long time, but we about to get there. This is said to be the oldest hominid. Look at his brow. This is the hominid, right? Look at his bone structure. So they say, we evolved over time and our brains got bigger and ha 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 ha. No, we did not. Look at this guy. He got the same head structure as these hominids. The only difference is he has microencephaly disease. He's what? Explain this. I know you got all kind of theories, but don't worry, we can explain it for you. We can help you out. So let's read about him. In Mama, Eli, I'll just call him Eli, is a 21-year-old boy from South Province of Rwanda. His story was aired on the country's Afromax television. While growing up, the mother said he spent a lot of his time in the bush and would feed on grass. Oh, grass? Oxalate-filled grass? Lectin-filled grass? Not having the enzymes or the room in his stomach to break down this grass? Y'all be drinking wheat grass, high lectin, causing agglutination of the red blood cells, disturbing all types of digestive function, eating on grass. This child was in the jungle eating only vegetation and vegetation that was not designed for humans to eat. The mother said he would chase after him every evening to bring him home as he spent all day running through the jungle. She said he did not like food and days would pass without him eating. Fasting! You raw food fasting people, your head shape gonna change in your lineage. Your body gonna shrink down and atrophy. You think you know something about nutrition? You don't know nothing about nutrition. He simply likes bananas and fresh foods, and it's not easy to provide him basic. Yeah, he's eating grass, bananas, and whatever he found in the jungle. Y'all be thinking y'all could live off grid. First of all, y'all ain't off grid. Y'all posting y'all shit all on Instagram. Off grid means don't post it. Off grid means it's a secret. I want to hide from the zombies who are coming after me. You posting that shit on Instagram. You ain't no goddamn off grid. You on grid. You about to be grits. Zombie grits. Second of all these fruitarian diets following Dr. Morse and Yaki and all of these people, y'all have no idea what atrophy is in the body. When you're looking at hominids, you're looking at sick Homo sapiens who did not have the fitness to live. They did not have the technology to live. They were not invested in technology like I'm telling you to send your sons to electric school so they can go work for the company that you said was the Illuminati. The Illuminati is handing out jobs. They want 500,000 electricians. So instead of learning a damn skill, instead of focusing on technology, you want a behind the desk job and you want to be super vegan and liberal for the rest of your life. You are listening to what I say to you because you will never hear this anyway. What you are doing is making hominids. You just looking at the slow process of the development of the hominid. Let me say that one more time. It's not just zombies that you're making. You are making what was already here. You're making hominids. Your people are becoming hominids. It's not just genealogy of the past. You're circling back because you don't have the wisdom and the knowledge of how to live. Go eat your raw food grass diet. Watch what happens to your people. Ellie is the sixth child. All right. His five other children died. All right. Boom, boom, boom. He ate grass, which has enzymes that operate off of raw goitrogens. I'm breaking all this down. But look at what it says here. Molecular genetics of human primary microcephaly. Autosomal recessive primary microcephaly is a neurodevelopment disorder that is characterized by microcephaly, present at birth, and non-progressive mental retardation. Microcephaly is the outcome of a smaller but architecturally normal brain. The cerebral cortex exhibits a significant decrease in size. That's your hominids. MCPH is a neurogenetic mitotic disorder. Through affected patients demonstrate normal neuronal migration, neuronal apoptosis, and neuronal function. 12 MCPH loci have been mapped to date from various populations around the world and contain the following genes. Here are the genes. Microcephalin. All of those all the way down to CDK6. It is predicted that MCPH gene mutations may lead to the disease phenotype, that skull that you saw, due to a disturbed mitotic spindle orientation, premature chromosomal condensation, signaling response as a result of damaged DNA, microtubule dynamics, transcriptional control, microtubules. That is what? Your cytoskeleton. That's how the light field is communicating with the cell. The light field cannot communicate with the cell now, so you got dysmorphic biology. Let me go back. That's your oldest hominid. You don't know what hominids are. So what's going to happen to this child is not going to continue this lineage. This lineage cannot survive on its own. This lineage wouldn't have the intelligence to survive and put together the technology because of the brain dysfunction. The brain dysfunction is dysfunctional symmetry, dysfunctional patterns in the development of the tissues. And those pattern dysfunctions from the cytoskeleton to the actual organization of the cells of the brain are a shielding mechanism for the light field. You can't think at a higher level. You need more symmetry. And to have more symmetry, you need more carbon. And carbon comes in three forms: carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. What's going to happen when you are protein deficient in the three forms of carbon, or lipid deficient, or carbohydrate deficient? Do you hear what I'm saying to you? When you hear carbon-based diet, you don't know what we're saying. Shit, the people who I'm teaching don't listen to what I'm saying. I'm telling you that this is this. It's easy to see, and that's why they went extinct. They said, oh, the hominids didn't have the fitness to survive. These people are talking in circles around you. So now they're trying to tell you the advanced comes from the disadvantaged. Oh my! Let me say that again. This is, you know who this is, right? This is the Vanara in India. This is the depiction of the hominids in documents that are only are very recent. We'll get to this. I'm telling you, these were talked about when humans were around. These are not common ancestors. The whole out of Africa theory is based on these hominids. This is the oldest one, and this is his cousin right here. Because I'm telling you, you can't get the advanced from the non-advanced. You have to get the non-advanced from the advanced. You cannot get matter from light. You have to get the light. You cannot get light from matter. You have to get the matter from the light. You're missing the point because you're not thinking in a circle. You're thinking linearly, and it happens everywhere. Your linear thoughts are in relationships. That's why you approach them that way. Your linear thoughts are on science. That's why you treat it the way that you do. Your linear thoughts are on history. That's why you only want to look back in time in your genealogy, in your genetics. You don't want to look forward in time, because to look forward and backwards in time is to loop it into a circle. And that's going to make you intelligent. But you don't know how to be intelligent. You want to be a hominid. You're on the hominid diet right now. This is this, and it's this. These are the same thing. My guy. So when they give you, I'm not done. I am not done. When they give you this stuff, you need to research it. Because now, oh no, I'm not done. Trust me. Hold on. Give me a moment. I am not done. Let me show you this other chart that I'm going to show you. Let me show you the chart. This is what they're going to try to do to you right here. This is what they're going to try to do. This is how they get you with the out of Africa theory right here. They do this to you, and then you be stuck. Oh, Neanderthals. Look at this. They got the Neanderthal with actinic keratosis over here. Then they got all of this stuff going on. Are you kidding me? None of this is explaining human history. We are not primates. We're not from primates. Those are all dysmorphic organisms and their fallout lineages. Didn't nobody evolve from this into this? Are you kidding me? You can only devolve from this into this. And you're seeing it happen with your people right now. They have no idea what they're doing. Now, let's go further. I'm not done. Why allopolymorphism? What is an allo? Yeah, this is about to get real thick. Yeah. Here we go. Let's get you on this. Why allopolymorphism? I'm going to tell you what an allo is. All right. So you got this little allo. It is a transposition element. I'm not even dealing with the stuff that's really going to put the nail in the coffin. You see, electrophoresis, I mentioned this earlier, a paternal test. All right, so let me go down here where it tells you. Excuse me. Right here. Alu elements are found only in primates, the monkey branch of the evolutionary tree, which includes humans, according to them. So all of the hundreds of thousands of Alu copies have accumulated in primates since their separation from other vertebrate groups about 65 million years ago. Once an Alu integrates into a new site, it accumulates new mutations at the same rate as surrounding DNA loci. Alu elements can be sorted into distinct lineages or families according to inherited patterns of new mutations. These studies suggest that the rate of Alu transposition has changed over time, from about one new jump every live birth early in primate evolution to about one in every 200 newborns today. Taken together, this pattern suggests that at any point in time, only one or several Alu masters are capable of transposing. Once an Alu inserts, here we go. Once an Alu inserts at a chromosome locus, it can copy itself for transposition, but there is no evidence that it is ever excised or lost from chromosomal locus. So each Alu insertion is stable through evolutionary time. Each is the fossil of a unique transposition event that occurred only once in primate evolution. Like genes, Alu insertions are inherited in a Mendelian fashion from parents to children. Thus, all primates showing an Alu insertion at a particular locus have inherited it from a common ancestor. This is called identity by descent. Oh my. All right, I'm about to get there because y'all don't know what I'm about to show y'all. It's about to get ugly in here. Here we go. Alu, polymorphisms. Oh my God. So let me read this next slide, and then I'm going to break this down for you and just give you the summary so you can get it. Because we're on genetics now in genealogy, and I promise I'm gonna sum it up right. In the context of why Alu polymorphisms, Alu refers to a transposable element. Remember that. Transposable element, also known as a jumping gene. This is horizontal gene transfer that becomes vertical. This is horizontal gene transfer that becomes vertical. This is insertion of genes or information into the gene that was not in a prior lineage, but now can be passed down. This is what I'm telling you when I talk about the semen microbiome, the sexome, and the microbes that you pass down along with the genes that you inherit from your father. It is a germline vertical transfer that can come from a horizontal transfer. It does come from horizontal transfer. It tells you what microbes are there. So I developed something called the semen microbiome test. And this test is going to be a test that will be used in the future to give way more details about where people are from. Because I can tell you that your Alu polymorphisms are different than Africans, and I can prove my point. I can prove my point. Wait a minute. This is about to get real deep. Jumping gene that is specific to primates and can be found on the Y chromosome. Specifically, the term Y Alu polymorphism refers to an Alu element insertion that is present in some human Y chromosomes. This is male lineage, and absent in others. These Alu insertions are considered polymorphisms because they vary in their presence or absence within a population. Alu elements are part of a larger category of DNA sequences called transposable elements. These elements can move or copy themselves from one location in the gene to another. Alu elements are unique to primates, and they are a type of short interdispersed element, sign. In the case of Y-Alu polymorphisms, a specific Alu element was inserted itself into a particular location on the Y chromosome. The Alu elements present or absent at this specific Y chromosome location is what creates polymorphism, differences in genes. Some individuals will have Alu insertion, while others will not. Watch this. Watch this. Now, here comes the slam dunk on top of their head. Real hard. Here it comes. Gather yourselves, my family. Please gather yourselves. This is the eulogy. What was the haplogroup of Yamasee Perry? Come on. What was his haplogroup? A-double-O. So he's in the A branch. Albert Perry, the oldest genes on Earth. You ain't getting away. Oh, you ain't getting away. You ain't getting away. It's not true that a man who was born in Florida, who lived in South Carolina, has the oldest genes. Is that not true? Okay, well, let me prove my point. Because I keep coming back to this, and they keep getting madder and madder and madder. That I'm highlighting this because it's a bigger story. What is the bigger story? What is the bigger story? What is the bigger story? Ha ha! The bigger story is none of y'all can argue with me on this point. That's the bigger story. And it's going to get nastier as I deal with it because obviously I know something that you don't know. So let's have it here. An African-American paternal lineage has an extremely ancient root to the human Y chromosome phylogenetic tree. We report the discovery of an African-American Y chromosome that carries the ancestral state of all SNPs that define the basal portion of the Y chromosome phylogenetic tree. We sequenced 240,000 kilobytes of this chromosome, base pairs of the chromosome to identify private derived mutations on this lineage, which we named AOO. We then estimated the time of the most recent common ancestor. So they're giving it 338,000 years. I don't agree with that. But look at what they say. Remarkably, this exceeds current estimates of the mitochondria, the most recent common ancestor. So this is older than woman's DNA, as well as those of the age of the oldest anatomically modern human fossils. This is the oldest lineage. Now, since this is the oldest lineage, let me go ahead and go to my other source so I can bust somebody's head. We got to bust somebody's head. Somebody got to get their head bust. Hold on. Somebody got to get their head bust. So he got a haplogroup. I first want to deal with the issue of Albert Perry being a slave. There is no record of Albert Perry being a slave. I have traced his family in South Carolina. I found his birthplace to be Florida in 1819, before it became a part of the United States. Florida did not become a state until 1845. Prior to that time, it was under the Spanish and Indian rule. It was under the home of the Yamasee. It's very likely Albert Perry was born on one of these tribes. So we're going through this, and we're showing you where he was born. All right. Albert Perry, all right, And this is one of his children. All right. Clyde Perry. So here's the lineage, just for the record. I don't care what the people say. I'm dealing with the records. I don't want to hear the family who might be paid by Henry shut down the gates. African ancestry. John Clyde Perry was the great-grandson. His father was John Perry, mother Jimmy Lee London. John Clyde was named after his grandfather, Clyde Perry, who was the son of Albert Perry. Then they got the great son. So you see Clyde Perry right here. Then you see his father, Albert Perry. Birthplace, Florida. Then we find him on the list. Clyde Perry. All right. Texas Department of Health. Find his name right there. Clyde Perry. This is how you do genealogy. I'm doing genealogy so you can learn how to do genealogy. 1880 census. Albert Perry was married and he had sons. Rosanna Perry was his wife. John, Clyde, and Barbara. Right there on the actual census document. You see Albert Perry right here. Rosa, Jack, Clyde, and Barbara. This is the Clyde I just showed you just now. That's the 1880 census. You see it close up. This is him in Columbia, South Carolina. This is my city. Oh, this is my city. Why am I telling you this? Here's Albert Perry right here. So he's in my city, Columbia, South Carolina. Do you know how many Perrys I know? Who I grew up around? This man from the 1800s. You know how many? That's 8 generations up to the day of Perrys who have this bloodline in South Carolina. And everywhere else they moved. So, no, wait a minute now. This man was born in Florida on Indian land. Then he got the English name Perry. Why don't he have a Spanish last name? Because they anglicized it. This is indigenous people. He did the same thing my family did. Perry is English. He was born in Florida under Spanish and Indian rule. Albert Perry wasn't his name. That was a name that he got adopted. They anglicized it after they kicked out the other European powers. Spain, France. The British became the authority. It wasn't even no English people where he was at, where he was born. Do y'all hear what I'm saying to y'all? Man, listen, I need y'all to understand what I'm saying to y'all. Albert Perry, land allotments. They dismissed his land claims. This is the part that blows out. So now we just dealt with single nucleotide polymorphisms, mutations, etc. Albert Perry's family, who tested 3 members, do not have the same DNA as the Africans in Cameroon. I'm going to say that again. Albert Perry's family, who tested 3 members, do not have the same DNA as the Africans in Cameroon. They have S&P variants that are not present in the Africans in Cameroon. S&P stands for single nucleotide polymorphisms. Here is a chart that shows the exact variances and the differences. This is what you call single nucleotide polymorphisms or short tandem repeats. You see the countries. These are the 3 that tested. These are the variants. They don't match. You are not the father. You are not the father. So, when you deal with ancestry, DNA, family tree DNA, MyHeritage, Nebula, 23andMe, what are you dealing with? They were collecting data the whole time, stupid. We have pre-bottleneck DNA here. Pre-bottleneck. Let me show you what that means. Oh my God, let me show you what that means. Let me show you what that means. You don't know what that means. You don't be knowing what I be talking about. Y'all don't be knowing what I be talking about. So what was Ramesses II? Yeah, wasn't it? E1B1A? All right. Let's close this out real crazy. Wasn't it E1B1A? If we got now A established in the Americas, let's look at E1B1A. Here we go. All right. Y'all said the African who came here and got the cocaine, the tobacco, and the cacao is E1B1A. Did y'all not say that? Now remember, this can change, but I need you to understand something. I'm going to take Perry DNA. I'm going to take Ramesses DNA. I'm about to just do a little quick survey. Let's do this quick survey. Is haplogroup E YAP positive or negative? Haplogroup E is YAP positive. The Y chromosome allopolymorphism is a DNA insertion that defines haplogroup D and E and its subclades, including E, since haplogroup E is a descendant of DE. It's YAP positive. Let's change it. It's haplogroup A. Oh! Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. What did I say? What did I say? Haplogroup A is YAP negative, meaning it does not carry the Y chromosome allopolymorphism or YAP mutation. This mutation is a characteristic of haplogroup D and its subclades, but not haplogroup A. Haplogroup A is found almost exclusively in Africa. Oh, really? While haplogroup D is found in both Africa and Asia. Wait a minute. Let's look up AOO, which is American. This is Perry. Y chromosome haplogroups are defined by specific mutations. Haplogroup AOO, considered the most basal branch of the human Y chromosome tree, is defined by its own unique set of mutations. The YAP insertion, also known as YAP positive, defines a different branch of the Y chromosome phylogeneity, specifically haplogroup D, E, and its subclades D and E. Therefore, based on defining mutations, haplogroup AO is YAP negative. You are not the father. I don't care. Listen, I know y'all about to get mad at me. You're going to stay mad, and that's okay. What am I saying here? I haven't even went through all of the ALUs. I'm just testing whether it's YAP negative or positive. There are specific ones that chimpanzees have, that silverback gorillas have, that some humans have, that Neanderthals have. What I'm trying to say is you don't get this conversation on genetic genealogy. And the reason why you don't get the conversation on genetic genealogy is because they don't want you to know where they come from. And you don't know where you come from. The microbes in the sperm of those Africans are not the same microbes in the sperm of these Americans. And there's a deeper conversation here. It's a way deeper conversation. Who are your women having sex with? Because here's the question that I need to ask you. What happens when a man cohabitates with a woman? She takes on his DNA. She's taking on all of his DNA. Didn't I just read about mood disorders in Neanderthals? And then mutations in hominids? And your women are out here with no jurisdiction. Your wife might be out here in another man's jurisdiction with a gynecologist, with all kind of advice about her womb space where your children come out of. And it is a defeatist psychology and operation that is chaotically governing how she produces children. Your baby mama, your wife, is in reverse eugenics against her own destiny. And you are not her teacher. You are her aid. You are her assister in creating devolved lineages of children. You asking what's wrong with your children, nigga, what's wrong with you? You don't need no children. The reason why you don't need no children is because you don't know what to do with them. And if you knew what to do with them, you will be over here with us on Team Indigenous trying to make a better world. Not just for us, for everybody, because everybody needs this information. You can make all the AI that you want. ChatGPT cannot get with me. And so what I want to say to you is you're in a debacle, genealogy and genetics, because you're not investing in the institutions that can comb through the information to help you decide to make a career that's worthy of 7 generations. You're so happy to go get a buttered biscuit from your slave master and dance that you got this buttered Bojangle biscuit. And you got your buttered Bojangle biscuit out here as a trophy to tell your children this is what you should aspire to do. Go become a medical doctor in a system that rapes people's souls out of their bodies. And by the way, hit the debit button on your way out on your insurance. What I'm telling you is very simple. You don't know shit about genealogy until you come study with us. You don't know shit about genetics until you come study with us. And I literally am dumbing down the conversation so that we can have it, so you can understand what is the future of your genetics. You don't even know. Somebody got you on the trajectory of a hominidal cataclysm. So when you go do your genealogy and you trying to say you are part of the 5 civilized tribes, all I'm telling you is that you should reconsider the strategy. There's nothing wrong with wanting the indigenous status. There's nothing wrong with joining a tribe. Go do what you got to do, but understand the long game. The long game, you fail, your children fail, and if you don't care about your babies, why are you here? You just here to get the steak. What we're saying is something that's very simple. What we're saying is that we need to learn these things in a holistic fashion so we learn how to use them. Because now we can do our genealogy and it has meaning, but then it has context. And we're not misinforming ourselves or the future. You're misinforming the future when it comes to genealogy and genetics because you did not read the fine print. It's for education. I mean, it's for entertainment purposes only. You're not politically African. Here's my suggestion if you want to be African. Get up, go move to Africa, to the great cities that they have there. Plant your lineage there. Get involved in the politics and the commerce for generations so that you can be African. That's how you complete that. You don't bring some exotic evangelical doctrine and get possessed by the Columbus Holy Ghost and start trying to pass off your evangelical ideology to everybody. So you become the prince of the cyber school that never came about. See how chaotic things end in chaos? You will never see me end in chaos. I didn't start out in chaos. I started out with a sincere desire that transferred itself into a sincere idea that I kept working. That's the formula. Develop your purpose, work at it. None of that stuff that y'all spent all y'all money on is helping y'all. And so what we're asking you to do is get involved on a day-to-day basis with something that is functional. Come to the summit. August 15th, 16th, and 17th. You ain't doing nothing. You in the ATL area. You in South Carolina. You in Florida. Hell, I don't care if your ass is in Los Angeles. Hop on a plane. Come have some fun and network with a business network. We are not coming here to teach you nothing about no evangelism. We're here to do business as families. And so we need a better way and we need more education. What I just walked you through is like a little class on proving that people don't study genetics. People don't study natural selection. They don't even know what natural selection actually is. They can't define it properly. It does not fit into the mutation framework that I just elaborated on. I could break that down all day long. I already wrote the books on this stuff. And I'm telling you, you need a new education because guess what? The lower intelligent people went extinct. The highly intelligent collaborators create bottlenecks and they continue to survive even in adverse situations. I'm showing you that in the past. I'm showing you that now. ARNA is a bottleneck. We have the information. We have the midwives. We have the doctors. We have the jurists. We have the psychologists. We have the economists. We have the jurisdiction. We have the processes. We have the money savers. We have the things that allow for us to have more time to collaborate. We have the people who are organizing the youth, organizing all of the. We are a collaborative unit. It's just an example of what can be done when you get at least one person to focus to try to bring other people into that dimension where they can live out their purpose. Ain't nothing crazy about that. Ain't nothing stupid about that. It's actual. You can prove it every day by living it. And so that's all we're asking you to do. I've been teaching for 3 hours. I'm done. Finally. I don't got nothing else to say. I'm about to go shut up and go have me some more fun. But I need you to come, pull your notebooks out, hop on this YouTube, pass this video around so your folk can study, so they can stop believing. It's going to lead to more questions. That's what a classroom is all about. You're supposed to have more questions after the lesson. But we do this in an organized way. Me coming on YouTube, I'm in class. I was in class today with the tribe and the other people who are a part of these things. We come to YouTube just to elaborate and to give y'all some inspiration. I'm going to save this because I didn't do anything that was out of order on this. So this will remain on YouTube. But we need y'all to get involved with your own development and to come to people who can help you with that. Where are you going to start your businesses at? Come to us. Where are you going to get your doctor's visit? Come get a bioscan, a DNA methylation test, something. Participate. You want to know how to get to the summit? I just had it up here. Did I delete it? Oh, let me open it back up. Do you want to learn about Arna and all of the stuff that you need to? Here, let me put this in here because some of y'all is y'all first time coming into lives and y'all don't get this information. I'll put it in the description section too. Arna government website, Aboriginal Medical Association website, and the Aboriginal Village Project website. So you can get that information about the summit. So you can participate in something. Get active. Hell, you might want to register a business. You might just want to pull up to the summit. I don't know. I'm going to give you all the links. I'll make sure I start putting these also in the description section. Be responsible so that y'all can reach out to the things that y'all need to reach out to, because y'all be asking me like, hey, bro, you forgot. Okay, I'm going to help y'all out. I will save this. Thank you for your time tonight. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. And I'm done. I'm going to check out.